Hi and welcome. My name is Karen James, and today I'd like to introduce you to my business, MindFit BodyFit. Now, this is something that I have set up to provide wellbeing services to businesses who wish to empower their employees in the art of self-management, and of course with the end result of improving in performance and productivity. Now, this is actually something that I conceived as an idea 20 years ago when I was working for an organisation, and I could see that stress was endemic throughout, and yet it was being swept underneath the carpet and nothing was being done about it. Back then, it was something that I felt strongly about, and obviously I still do. I had the privilege of seeing it through the eyes of a trainer. I was delivering on personal development and performance coaching at the time, and that's where I initially derived the concept of the mind. But I was also a fitness instructor and physically training and exercising people at night. So that's really where the initiation for body training came in as well. It was then that I realised that for performance, it had to be a splice of both mind and body. And, it's a very crude thought at the time, but it meant that training needed to be far more holistic for the average person than was currently being delivered. Since then, in 20 years, I have worked in many different organisation and corporate environments, both as a contract trainer, as an employee, and as a private supplier of wellbeing services as well. And it means that I've had the advantage of being immersed in working in more than one field and have managed to avoid the bias that exists in different organisations. So it's enabled me to see really what's going on without being tied to a process, and MindFit BodyFit has been further developed because of this. But it does need a workable solution, and for businesses and companies to have access to. And this is where the 20 years have also been spent in gaining not just the right experience, but also the right knowledge to impart. Because now I really do believe it's time to give well-being time and give it character and mold it into something from understanding so that it is recognised as a subject in its own right. COVID-19 has changed our norms, and somewhere an eye needs to be kept out on all those employees who now work from home. This is my working from home, by the way. And as I do show an example of this later on in the presentation too. MindFit BodyFit training isn't just holistic, it is sustainable. And by bringing well-being to life in your business, it will establish sounder communication links between management and staff. So subjects such as or forums for discussion surrounding early recognition of stress or work-life balance being out of kilter, for example, or brought to a head very early on. Purpose, passion, positivity and potential are unleashed through MindFit BodyFit and a growth mindset trained. If you could develop staff and build resilience, give employees access to tools which help them thrive and not just survive in this monumental time of change, would you? Today, we'll look at why it's time to give well-being time within your business. And there will be a short demonstration of MindFit BodyFit too. But where are we currently with well-being? And really, to understand this, we need to look at what has gone on in the recent past. Because we didn't used to get the protection that we do now from all the health and safety policies that have been instigated. And this refers to the right of every employee, regardless of industry, to carry out his or her daily work in a safe environment. Well-being has been overlooked because these strategies have been put in place instead, and they've made it environmentally safe and friendly and sorted out the practical. But now, where else do we look to improve ourselves at work? Surely well-being is the most valuable injection that employers can give to its staff, because quite simply, there is nowhere else to look to bolster productivity and performance. Where are we with well-being at the moment? And this is what I've seen. A lot of short-term measures are employed, and they're very good. You know, you get the one-off yoga sessions, or you have massage therapists come in, you have a week to promote well-being, and they're great. But in the long term, where is this held? And perhaps you might like this story that I have, just to illustrate the point a little bit further. A human resources manager went to bed one night. She was troubled by the two teams she had to look after. Which team was worthy of her most attention? As her eyes closed, she fell into a deep sleep. Suddenly, she heard a senior manager say to her, "Before you get settled in, I have higher orders, and I've been instructed to show you these two teams. You'll spend a day with each one, and then you can choose to perform alongside either the high performers or the new team." "Actually, I think I'd like to be attached to the high performing team first," said the HR manager. "Sorry, we have rules," at which the senior manager sent the HR manager down an elevator for a day's attachment to the new team. As the doors opened, the HR manager stepped out onto a beautiful golf course. In the distance was a country club. Around were many of those she recognised. She had interviewed them, all smartly dressed, happy and cheering. They greeted the HR manager, played a round of golf, and went to the country club where they all enjoyed a lobster dinner. The HR manager met the senior manager there too, and they all had a wonderful night telling jokes and dancing before it was time to leave and step into the elevator, which went up another floor to the next day. This is where the HRM spent a day lounging around, basking in the glory of the successful team, drinking tea, eating cake, and was fascinated with her new work outfit, a pair of slippers, pyjama bottoms, and a smart shirt when on Zoom. All in all, this was almost as enjoyable as the day before. At the day's end, her senior manager returned and he asked, "You've spent a day with the new team and a day with the high performers. You must now choose between the two." The HRM thought for a second and replied, "Well, the high performing team was certainly lovely, but I actually had a better time with the newcomers. I choose the newcomers." Accordingly, going back down the elevator, the HRM stepped out and looked around and saw the new team, the friends from the day before dressed down, some zooming at their desks, some taking teacups back to the kitchen and not altogether smiling. The senior manager approached. "I don't understand," stuttered the HR manager. "Yesterday I was here, and there was a golf course and a country club, and we ate lobster, and we danced and had a wonderful happy time. Now all that's left is a desk and a chair, and the newcomers look dissatisfied." The senior manager looked up and said, "Yesterday you were on an induction and well-being training day. Today you're back in the office." Does that ring a bell? Is this how well-being is perceived in your business? And the question is, will this still continue in light of COVID-19? In many ways, COVID-19 is the launchpad for a change in the ways of working, especially working from home. Enlightened organisations undoubtedly will embrace the opportunities that come with this and will be able to glean the benefits. But the impact literally at desk level is huge, and not just the change of physical environment. You know, previously employees have been well within sight and within easy reach in the office. But the office is now in the kitchen, in the lounge, in the car, in the sitting room. And it leaves a big gap because a business still needs to be able to show care for its people, and how can it when they can't be seen? As we've already said, traditionally, care has thrown itself and placed big value on health and safety policies, and it's worked. And they've also placed big value on management training as well. And it's interesting because where does well-being lie between these two? If management training is the father of personal development, then well-being is the mother. And well-being, in my view, has always been the poor relation of health and safety because it's being comparatively hidden from view. With a die cast in new ways of working, it's time to balance the equation and give well-being its own voice. It's time to give it time. MindFit BodyFit believes in self-management and trains an individual to take responsibility to think, act and behave in ways that promote their well-being to the benefit of not only that individual, but also the teams they work for and the people around them, and ultimately the business. It is said we fall far easier into the pit of negativity than into the light of positivity. And MindFit BodyFit, with its fundamental training principles of purpose, passion, positivity and potential, will help this literally come to life. And it is active. And I have a quote here from Mark Twain which outlines this rather well. Trust only movement. Life happens at the level of events, not of words. Trust movement. MindFit BodyFit builds a structured, sustainable program involving the use of practical mind training tools. Now, this is taken from life coaching to build resilience. So that's really for your mental health. Physical activities taken from yoga and Pilates to reduce musculoskeletal aches and pains like lower back pain, shoulder pain, tight necks. And that's very much in the present. So present mind training and meditation and mindfulness to deal with, tough emotions. And that can deal with someone's past. Now, all these types of training increase personal energy. The stuff all businesses, I think, would like to harness for greater productivity and performance. MindFit BodyFit delivers on training a mindset and a body that prepares itself to be better able to move through times of challenge and times of great opportunity, precisely when an individual needs to grow. And because it's proactive and has a breadth of training, MindFit BodyFit allows an individual to find their own set of keys, unlock their own potential, and find their unique combination to dealing with stress and uncomfortable situations that the workplace can throw their way. In so doing, they grow, and so does the business from minds that are focused and bodies that are healthy. I really do think the leaders of and employers of tomorrow now need to be the leaders and employers of today. And maybe saying something like, if this is what you need to do to stay centered and well, by structuring your day to maximize your energy peaks and troughs in that way, then this is what you need to do. This is the new give, it's the new perk, and it's the new freedom for each individual to investigate new ways of working and new ways of being. In return, a better working partnership is formed between managers and their staff as open conversations are held, rather than ones that take place after anxiety and stress have worked their way through. Now, not only have you got MindFit BodyFit training at hand, but MindFit BodyFit as a business has established a partners network. And it means that well-being policy can be drawn up for your business to outline a coherent strategy and mark the beginnings of well-being cultural change. And also MindFit BodyFit has the arm of management training to develop people management skills and help to bring creativity, empathy, compassion to your business. All the more essential when it is understood that well-being is defined by the employee, not the business. When you think of the word well-being, what comes to mind? These are my thoughts. I want to have more energy. I want to feel less stressed. I want to be able to accomplish more. I think about food and what I eat. I consider work-life balance, relationships, finances, meditation. I think of spa days. I think of the sea. But they're just my thoughts. Well-being produces surprising replies because it is such a highly subjective subject. And here are 3 responses from my recent research when each person was asked, what does well-being mean to you? And I got an expanse of responses. Now, the first person I asked was a bid manager, and she was working from home recently. And I asked her, what does well-being now mean to you? And this is her immediate response. My back is hurting from sitting at the table all day. I'm not getting much of a break from having to take call after call. I am concerned about my mental health. I manage my own hours, but I'm working into the early hours of the morning because of a significant increase in workloads, and I am exhausted. There is no escape to the pattern of bedroom, living room, lounge and kitchen. This is where I'm at every day. So I asked her what she'd done about it, and she said, well, I've changed my chair, I've taken breaks, but I'm feeling isolated and overloaded with the new responsibilities. And indeed, it's evident her well-being was suffering because she felt she had no let out. Home life was moulding into her work life, and without the sufficient separation of time between these two. Had she reported this to her manager, she shook her head and replied she was expected to do the work. Now, all in all, this meant she was effectively ignoring the stress. Would you know if one of your employees was suffering in this way? And actually, in this day and age, do you think it's acceptable that they would be? How easy is it for someone in that position to impart and admit their struggle, especially if they're placed inside a pressure valve? The MindFit BodyFit strategy looks to open the doors to having these types of conversation, because at its root, MindFit BodyFit believes that the need to understand another's well-being plight is the first step taken by the business and employee to establish a well-being partnership. The second well-being scenario, when I asked the admin assistant what he thought about well-being, and he came back and asked the question which I wasn't prepared for. He said, will your business help stop me drinking that extra glass of wine when I come home every evening? And I said, providing that he's prepared to take full accountability for his actions, then yes, MindFit BodyFit would help in getting him there. And this is based on the premise that, as all good trainers will tell you, us human beings are built like icebergs. What you see on the surface is just about 10% of us. The rest of us lies underneath the waterline. And this is where we start to go in with some of our practical training and look at. So we bring to the surface, for example, positive thinking, and we bring out from underneath our negative attitudes and beliefs that can hold us back. So yes, another example of where MindFit BodyFit can help in your business. Now, this is the third person that I asked about their well-being, and this came from a senior communications manager. She said, and I quote, with our new lockdown working conditions, we have virtual quizzes, for example. And recently I had a gin making kit sent to my home address for an after work get together where quite frankly we all got a little bit merry. To me, well-being is having that bit of fun injected into the day. And if I really feel like it, I get on a spinning bike. Anyway, we both laughed. But that was her way of staying on top, and that was her reality, and very healthy. It is too when it comes to the spinning bike. But the point is here, she gave herself time to do so. Now, all these three cases are very different, and it just shows we're all very different in our needs, our wants, and we are made up with different needs and at different times, and these also need to be respected. It means that the well-being key for one person can be the equivalent of putting another into lockdown. So the definition really does come from each and every one of us. So MindFit BodyFit, the actual training, works on the basis of restoring equilibrium to the mind and body, and it bolsters resilience by making us aware of the things that move us away from equilibrium, such as the stresses and the frustrations that we can go through day by day. But as a business leader, are you keeping your own house in order? Here is an exercise just to highlight and give awareness to perhaps any underneath the stress levels you may have. So I'd like you to think of a topic that is on your mind, and that's either at home or work. Now, it could be something that's either troubling you or something that you would like to create in the future. What really is going on or happening at the moment? Now I'd like you to close your eyes. Have you got them closed? Just notice what your thoughts and feelings are about this topic that you've chosen. Maybe you've got also images of what's happening outside of this. Who, what, opportunities, threats. What would you like to have happen with this topic or issue? Take yourself forward to a point in time when your issue is the way that you want it to be. What do you notice you need to solve it? Who is involved? When might that end result be? What will it look like? Do you have a picture in your mind right now? And what will it feel like to you when it's resolved or achieved? It's something that obviously that needs to your attention. So what is stopping you from making it happen right now? What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel about this topic or issue? And I want you to feel your feet on the floor right now. And breathe into your chest area. Because this is where we're going to attain how this is affecting you. And I'd like you to score this on a level of 1 to 10. 1 means that you're ultra calm, and 10, somewhere in your body, you're finding stress and anxiety. And whatever number comes to head first is the right one for you. Now, if you've given yourself 1 to 3, you're in a low level stress bracket, and we'll colour this green. And that means it'll have little impact on your body. You know, you feel well, you feel relaxed, maybe even feel a smile, you feel energized, and your thinking is clear right now. If you're on the 4 to 7 bracket, you're in a moderate stress level, and we'll colour this amber. And it might mean you feel a little bit restless, maybe you feel a little bit drained, maybe there's even a little bit of frown on your facial muscles. You feel maybe tired thinking about it, and maybe even having bodily symptoms, a little bit of heart palpitation or sensations or tingling somewhere. If you score 8 to 10, you have high stress levels, and this we will colour red. Maybe you feel a little bit on edge, maybe you feel a little bit angsty. Maybe you want to name that feeling. But what colour are you? Let's transpose that. Because where you are in your mind and body right now, how you react to something, we can change that. And it's a two-pronged attack. Our body experience is either through our mind's thinking or through our body's feeling. And we can change. So right now, I want you to breathe in and focus on the area around your heart. Now imagine this area is wide open, in the widest open space. And breathe all the way through the rib cage freely and easily. And you just have a sense that that space is becoming wider and wider. And you now notice it expanding outwards with energy. And the more you feel that outward energy, the more relaxed you are inside, and the body is beginning to respond. I want you to breathe in for a count of 3, 2, 1 into that heart center. And as you breathe out for 3, 2, 1, you begin to feel a little bit more relaxed. Now breathe in for 3, 2, open that heart a little bit wider, 1. And as you breathe out, you relax for 3, 2, 1. Now with your next inhale, I want you to breathe again into the heart. Stay with it. And visualize the colour you've just seen. And as you breathe out, you start to relax. As you breathe in, I want you to see the colour you've just seen, and now switch it to green. And exhale. And as you exhale, ease, relax the shoulders, relax the head, neck and shoulders, breathing out. As you inhale, see the green. Feel the calm and the warmth. And then exhale and relax. As you inhale, I want you to see the green, feel the warmth, and now smell something associated with green, for example, fresh mown grass. And exhale and relax. And now inhale, feel the green, see the green, and maybe even it has a vibration, hear the green, running through you from head to toe, all the way around. And exhale, relax. Now where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? And when you think about your topic now, where do you want to start to move forward? Let your mind run free. But what could you do? Where would you like to go with this? Now what will you do? And when will you do it? Maybe you have a different answer. And maybe you feel differently. Maybe this has resolved it for you. Or maybe you realise that this is something out of your control. In which case, keep with the green visualization with slow relaxation breath to change the feeling and have a better sense of inner control with this issue. And also to keep those thoughts healthy, keep in mind the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. As we move into a more agile working environment, how will you ensure your staff maintain their physical and mental health? For example, work-life balance could be in grave danger of being moved to one side. And as we have seen, employees aren't always comfortable in coming forward and saying this is the case. If they were, we wouldn't have concepts such as presenteeism and leaverism. What if your business could offer a hand to your staff to support them in their work and home life now that these two worlds are merging? When coaching performance and well-being, an individual is given the task of finding their own solutions and keys to their own performance and productivity. And they have the confidence to broach this tentative subject with their manager. Without this type of guidance, the business has failed to cultivate the opportunity for growth of its staff and ultimately growth of its business. There cannot be one without the other. MindFit BodyFit is a planned longer-term strategy that builds a firm foundation to bring positive well-being to the surface, and in doing so not only connects the individual but promotes links between managers and staff into other parts of the business, such as health and safety departments, HR, occupational health or EAP services, because it brings them into a common working existence and it helps to improve KPIs. And when the full MindFit BodyFit package is brought into the training, the policy writing and the management training, it produces the cultural shift required to transform. What strategy do you have to ensure not only productivity but performance aren't harmed in this new era? How are you going to do it? Who will you use to give it time? And that is what we work together to build and sustain: well-being actions and awareness. Can you afford not to give well-being time? Now, I think you understand, maybe, why it's time to give it time. Thank you for listening.